If you've spent any amount of time looking into the Enoch calendar, you've probably come across some pretty puzzling descriptions, especially when it comes to those mysterious gates mentioned in the book of the Luminaries. You might have asked yourself, what exactly was Enoch seeing when he talked about the moon rising and setting alongside the sun in those gates? In this video, we're diving into exactly that question, looking closely at 1 Enoch 74, 4-9. Here, the angel Uriel explains a lunar pattern that seems cryptic at first. Sometimes the moon lines up perfectly with the sun, and sometimes it goes its own way. And it's all part of keeping perfect time. I've mapped out these lunar paths the best way I know how for now, and today we'll go through them step by step. Together, we'll reveal another mystery behind these celestial gates and find out how Enoch's observations match real-world astronomy. So grab your notes and let's explore another law of the moon. We'll begin by showing each verse and visualizing exactly how the moon behaves in each gate as described by Enoch. Remember, the bottom of each gate represents the horizon, so we'll be looking at the moon just before it rises or sets in relation to the sun. On screen now is the western sky at sunset. Enoch 74, 4-9. In certain months, it changes the places of its setting, and in certain months it goes down its own way. During 2 months, it sets with the sun in those 2 middle gates, in the 3rd and in the 4th gate. The moon sets with the sun multiple times while the sun is in gate 3 and gate 4. I've included the Gregorian calendar dates on screen for easy reference, but keep in mind the sun remains in each gate for 30 or 31 days, 1 full month on the Enoch calendar per gate. When Enoch mentions during 2 months, he means that during the periods when the sun is in gate 3 and gate 4, the moon occasionally aligns and sets alongside it. Displayed on screen now are specific dates and times when the moon and the sun set together in the western sky. Afterwards, the moon continues its journey, circling back through the gates to align again with the sun, just as Enoch described. Continuing in verse 6, it emerges for 7 days, goes around, and returns again to the gate from which the sun emerges. It completes all its light, recedes from the sun, and enters for 8 days into the 6th gate from which the sun emerges. Now we're shifting our view to the eastern sky, where the sun rises. When Enoch says the moon emerges for 7 days and goes around, I believe he's pointing out a transition in focus from sunset on the western horizon back around to the sunrise in the east. This is where the moon begins to rise from the same gate the sun emerges from. When the text says the moon completes all its light, it's likely referring to the moon becoming fully dark or empty of light as it enters the 6th gate alongside the sun. And that's exactly what we see. As the moon recedes from the sun, it gradually loses its light until it reaches conjunction, completely dark, while in gate 6. Tracking the moon's timing and position within each gate has been a real challenge. The number of days it spends in each gate seems to shift slightly depending on your location and the time of the year. So when Enoch mentions 8 days, it's hard to say if that refers to the total time it takes to enter gate 6 or how long it stays there. In most cases, I'm seeing somewhere between 6 and 8 days, depending on the year and where you're observing from. Continuing on in verse 7, when the sun emerges from the 4th gate, the moon emerges for 7 days until it emerges from the 5th. It again returns in 7 days into the 4th gate and completes all of its light. It recedes and enters into the 1st gate for 8 days. Okay, so here's what's happening. When the sun is in the 4th gate, the moon also emerges and travels with it for 7 days, eventually reaching gate 5. Now, I forgot to capture the footage of the moon entering gate 5 during those first 7 days, so we're starting just a little bit late here, but you'll still be able to clearly see how this pattern plays out. Now, my current mapping isn't perfectly dialed in yet. I'm off by 2 days in the moon's return from gate 5 back into gate 4. But when it does return to gate 4, the moon has no light. It's completely dark again. Then it begins to recede from the sun and enters into the first gate for 8 days. After that, the moon returns to the fourth gate once again in another 7 days, just like Enoch describes. During this time, Enoch notes, the moon rises while the sun sets, following a synchronized rhythm through the gates. Verse 8, it again returns in 7 days into the fourth gate from which the sun emerges. In this way I saw their positions, as the moon rises and the sun sets during those days. This cycle is surprisingly detailed, and it's amazing how closely it matches real-world observation when you line it up properly. Next, let's take a look at the movements of the sun and the moon across all 12 gates on the horizon. This is a simplified map showing all 12 gates, 6 in the east and 6 in the west. The sun and moon actually don't reach between the eastern and western gates. They stay only within the gates. The first thing that you'll notice is that the gates are mirrored. When a sun or moon rises through a gate on the eastern horizon, it sets through the exact same gate on the western side. The sun gradually shifts through all 12 gates over the course of a year, but it lingers at the outermost gates, gates 1 and 6, for 2 months each. 1 month is spent entering the gate, while the next is spent exiting it. Also, pay attention to this. The sun moves in opposite directions when viewed from the east versus the west. On the eastern horizon, it moves northward and southward with the seasons, but on the western horizon, the movement appears reversed. The moon, however, moves much more quickly. It travels through all 12 gates in about 27 days, completing a full cycle in less than a month. Now we're going to take a look at the moon's position on the same calendar day from 2024 to 2035, and see how its path changes from the start of the years. So there you have it. Enoch's detailed account of the moon's course through the gates isn't just poetic language or mystical imagery. When mapped out, it actually reflects real, observable lunar behavior. From setting with the sun in specific gates to completing its light and returning through others, the moon's pattern across the sky fits remarkably well with what Enoch recorded thousands of years ago. Here's the thing, there's still so much more to uncover. This project took a lot of time to put together between editing, missed observation days, and mapping gaps. But this is just the start. We need more people doing hands-on physical observations, actually tracking the sun and moon with real photos taken from the same spot at the same elevation every day, documenting their positions along the horizon. Only then can we truly build an accurate model of the gates described in Enoch, and test for ourselves what's real and what's not. Digital tools are great, but nothing replaces consistent, boots-on-the-ground skywatching. If you are passionate about this topic, I encourage you to try your own gate mapping project. Watch the sunrise and sunset, photograph the moon's position daily, log your observations, and see how they compare with Enoch's account. The truth is in the sky. It's just waiting to be charted. Thanks for watching, and be sure to like, share, and subscribe if you want to see more deep dives like this.